Hey, happy Mask Monday. I have another quick tip for you. All right, so we've got another quick tip for you today because I'm gonna just stipple this mask. The nice thing about this Moon Goon is it's only like a two-part paint job. I pretty much just spray it with this base color, and then I'm just gonna stipple the white on top. And what's cool about this one too is the stipple adds texture to it because he's supposed to be like, you know, a moon. This one is one that I just did where I wanted it to look like really kind of spongy, to look a little more old and like vintage. And I wanted to show a lot of the brown. Then you have this one that I've already done. This one was stippled and you can see it's a lot thicker. And this one's kind of in between. This is gonna be like white. Like this is gonna be all the way white. On the tops of all of these craters, that's gonna be like really thick and white and it won't look spongy at all. Like you can see there's a little bit of texture sculpted into the mask to make it look kind of gravelly. But I didn't go too crazy with texture because I knew the way I was gonna be painting this was with a sponge, and so I'm gonna leave like a degree of that kind of sponginess look to it. So yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and jump right in. I've already got my color mixed, but it's mostly white with a tiny amount of Spook Show mixed into it. This mask is this color, it's the base. You know, all these craters are gonna be left turquoise, and inside the mouth and the nose and everything, that's all gonna be turquoise. You know, if I wanted a purple one, I would do a purple base and then white stipple. If I wanted a red or an orange one, I would do that base and then I would still do just like a white stipple. Anyways, yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm gonna show what I use for sponges. This is just this cheap bed foam, and I've shown it before, but it's just really cheap bed foam that I just cut into squares. So got a nice little square there, and then I'm gonna wrap it so that I have a nice circular, you know, these corners aren't gonna grab it or anything. And then like, again, if you want, you can trim off these edges, but you don't always have to. Once again, I use these lids. I just like using them for a palette. So you wanna get some paint, stipple it over here, get it off so that it's kind of coming on lighter. Start with the back of the head, maybe a little bit, to kind of start to see how it's working, you know? Like you can start back over here and just kind of get the feel for it, find that sweet spot. But really where you want to start is like the important, like the face. And the hard part about stippling is getting into these like cracks and details. So there's that one, that one, that one, and then in there, and in that crevice, and in that crevice. Those can create quite an issue. If I just stipple right there, you're only gonna, you know, I'm not gonna get that bit. But then if I go in there and I try to like just smush it, then I'm gonna get it all over the edges. And I'm gonna get a little bit on the edges, and that's okay. A little bit of white will hit almost everywhere on here except the deep craters. What I'm gonna do is literally just poke it out with my finger. Just poke that out so that it's the high point now. So I like to start here because this is like the stressful, hard part. And so I'll kind of start with these areas. And it's almost like a sewing machine where I'm gonna just be pushing down almost in the same spot, and I'm gonna move this where I want it to go. But also it's like, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but like my finger will like drag across it like that. So as I'm like moving, I just keep moving my finger to keep the high point like where I wanna hit it. You don't wanna try to finish any section like right away. Like I wanna move it all the way around and do it in passes. And then that way, and that works with the airbrush or paintbrush or stippling or anything. Once that white is like dry there, then it's gonna grab that next layer of white really, really easy, so that second pass is a lot quicker. And again, so you can see here where like I've, you know, hit it too much, but that's fine. I don't want that to be totally clean. Like I'm gonna go in on my second pass and kind of just go over all of that so it just blends it in a little bit. Because then once I get to like here, this is gonna be straight up white. So, you know, you want a little bit of transition anyways. And then again, what's kind of cool about this is the brighter I make, you know, these little circles, the darker, you know, all the spots that I already hit are, so then it creates that like contrast. If it's all the same, you know, consistency, then these won't pop nearly as much. My point of saying that is I don't want my second coat, I don't want to just hit everything again. I want to start by making the craters the color that I want. Sponge is really getting like soaked with paint, so it's not having that same sponge look. It's almost like smudgy, but it's okay for these parts that I want to be totally white. You know, like, so look at this crater, for example. It's compared to like this one. This one's all the way white and it creates more contrast and gradient. This one is like the same color as right over here. So I'm just gonna go heavier on the very top of this. I'm pretty much done. So first I'm gonna kind of finish the face off here. Once I get this face pretty much all white, I'll go back and I'll touch up just a little bit of highlights, little areas where I think it needs a little bit more, a little punch. Now I'm like going around like these edges of this stuff and just like cleaning it up. I don't want this to be straight up white like the rest of it, but I don't want it to have this weird kind of line either. And again, the brighter I make the top, the darker that appears. And again, so it's just like a build-up process, and maybe that's the thing, maybe that's the key to being quicker. I want it to go quickly, but I want it to look as good as possible. All right, so I'm gonna stuff him back up, and then I'll put him under this light, and that'll usually show me a few things I didn't see before. It's pretty close, I can see there's a little green. Again, I always kind of accidentally neglect the top. He's pretty much done. That's it for the video. That's it as far as stippling goes. Again, thank you everyone who has ordered these. I'm gonna try to have a few in stock on the Nightmare Toys site by the time this video comes out. I don't know if I can for sure or not, because honestly, because so many people have been ordering them, the molds are just tied up with orders. I'm just keep pouring masks for people, which again, thank you so much everyone who has purchased one of these masks or any of our masks. Go to nightmaretoys.com, search Moon Goon. If you like it. If you don't like it, then don't. That would be pointless. Thank you so much to Craig Gleason, who allowed me to make this mask. He's the artist that designed the character. He's a member of his Bad Guys Club, and he's one of my favorite artists, so it's really cool being able to produce a mask of one of his characters, and he was nice enough to let us do that. So anyways, nightmaretoys.com, like, share, subscribe. See you next week for another Mask Monday.